Hey everyone, welcome to a really quick, brief pass-by of our new recording spot that's still very much a work in progress, but I thought we're now going to be producing our shows from the studio, so I'd give you a tour of what we're working with. So first of all, as you can probably tell, we're in my garage, and what I've done is I've set up movers blankets in my garage that I hang on my third bay garage to dampen sound, and I've created myself a little doorway here. You see this guy right here, so I can slide it shut. So we'll come into here, and the first thing you'll notice is this is essentially the shot that you will see us from for some of the shows, is this guy right here. And what we have here is in the background we have a reflect media green screen that is gray to the human eye, but well, I'll go into this in a little more detail here in a bit. But so this is our backdrop, and this is where Brian and I sit, or whoever. And then here we have this is an iMac that dual boots Ubuntu 9.04. It's in OS 10 right now because that's the company I work for, and I was doing work for them. You can see here. Those are files on the desktop of work I was doing with them, and they're an all Mac shop. And then when we do Linux Action Show, I can reboot into Ubuntu 9.04. Okay, so let's take a look. At here's our view when we're looking at the camera. We have these box lights. That's that big thing right there. And then down here we have a MacBook Pro, and that streams using Wirecast to our live stream service. And then over here we have another box light. This one's actually on. It's very bright. So here, let me turn the camera away so it doesn't crank all the way down. So these two big box lights are what light us, and these are actually these are too bright. These blow us out, and it's actually not a good situation. So we're getting dimmers, and we're going to redo the light setup right now. But these aren't Jupiter Broadcasting lights. These are my day job's lights. So you work with them what you got. Okay. So here we have is kind of the recording back end. Here's the Canon. This is an HV20, and it's got a couple of things going on here. First of all, starting at the bottom here is a BeachTech adapter that brings XLR cables in, so that way we can bring audio in directly from our board using XLR cables. And XLR cables have the nice benefit of the way they're wired, it reduces hum and buzz. Not perfect. If there's buzz in your work, it's not going to take it out, but with a long run with an XLR cable, it shouldn't introduce any buzz. And so we bring that into the camera here. Then we have FireWire out to the computer, and I'll show that in just a second. That's what goes into the MacBook for the stream. And then this guy, now this is the interesting thing here. So this is this ring on top of the camera. This is part 2 of the Reflect Media green screen kit. This is a row of LED lights that I have a controller here that I can turn up, and I can start cranking up the LED lights, and you see now it's green. And I don't know if this is going to show up on this camera, but now when I turn to the green screen, no, it doesn't show up on this camera. But here, I'll give you an example. Okay, so it's essentially, you can see a little green, but it's essentially gray. That screen is gray right now. But if I look at what the Canon is seeing, the Canon screen, you can kind of, you see what I'm saying there, that how you see how it shows up as green through the viewfinder, even though the screen is gray. Oh, you see if I bring it down just a little bit, you can see some of that green. The way it works is this LED ring, obviously it sends the green light, and it's just around the lens of the camera, that thing. And so the camera sees a lot of green because there's glass beads in that curtain, and so those glass beads are reflecting the green back into the camera. And what that allows us to do basically is we can have a very quick and dirty set it up and go green screen solution without having to do all of the lighting necessary to actually light a real green screen, which produces a ton of heat and is a lot of power, and it's a lot to set up. And since we're only rocking 2 lights as it is, we don't have the lights to light a green screen properly. So okay, so that's pretty cool. And then up there we have a little light set that it lights us from behind. It's not very good, but you get the idea. It's good when you're doing green screen to have a light source behind you too. Okay, so then over here, this is an Ubuntu Studio. This is actually Ubuntu Hardy. It's a little bit older, but this is where we record our audio. So here's our mixer, and the mics come into this, and we have, here's our XLR out to the camera. I showed you how it has that adapter that takes XLR in. Well, that's what these do. These send to the camera, and then these send to an M-Audio Fast Track Pro. That's this blue guy right here. And that M-Audio Fast Track Pro over USB goes into the Ubuntu Studio machine down here. So this is a Dell down here running Ubuntu Studio that has Fast Track Pro. This silver box on top is the M-Audio Audio Buddy, and this provides amplification for my PR40 microphone, because if I brought it just into the board, it would probably be enough, but it wouldn't be quite enough. So I have audio feed from that going into the board, and then Brian's mic is plugged in, and Brian's mic gets phantom power, and my mic doesn't need phantom power. Okay, so that's what's kind of behind the camera. So that's what we see. And then over here, like I said, is a MacBook Pro, and you see here we have FireWire coming in from the camera, and then here I have USB coming in, and this USB actually is this webcam on top of the iMac over here. So this webcam isn't actually used on the iMac. It's just there for positioning, so that way you can see us if I felt like doing that camera shot. So I run that into the MacBook Pro, and then I use Wirecast here on this MacBook Pro to stream to Mogulus or Ustream or whatever it happens to be. This one does not dual boot, because that's all this thing does. When we're not streaming, it's not on. This is this also is a work provided machine, and so I have the benefit of not needing it for anything else. Oh, one last thing here is where this roll of paper towels is at. This guy here is a 4-mic wireless receiver. So like when we're doing Beer is Tasty, or I'm doing the day job work, I can also just go wireless mics. And then that actually, using that, I bypass the board and everything, and I just go directly into the camera. I guess there's not really much for me to show you. It's a natty system, and it actually works pretty good. I like it quite a bit, and then these paper towels are because we like to eat lunch sometimes. So that's kind of the gist of our setup. So it's a bit basic right now, but you know, we're digging it, and it's got a lot of potential, I think. So when you're watching us, this is what we see, and yes, that green light ring around the camera really is that bright to us too, and it does hurt the eyes after a while, but it's pretty cool. Oh, one last thing that's kind of cool about being in a garage is it has a garage door, and when we're loading equipment in and out, it's right there. Yeah, that has been super handy. So we've got the garage door, and I can just bring in equipment right through the door. Bob's your uncle. I'm done. All right, well, I'll do a more extensive review, probably an in-depth look in the future of how all this is set up, and what equipment I got, and why I bought that equipment. And basically, it was all building this on a budget, and because it was either between my day job's funds or my personal funds, and so I had to build on a budget, and I think I pulled off a pretty good job. The audio is not quite where I wanted it yet. Well, and this microphone sucks. But the audio of the room isn't quite where I wanted it yet, but it's getting there. So it's got a lot of potential, and I'm just going to keep working on it. And when I feel like I got it to a point, I'm going to do like a really in-depth write-up and video review of the whole thing. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed the behind-the-scenes tour of the new Action Studio.